This is why you get sick and die, because you love what deceives you. Those are the words from an apocryphal text that was not included in the Bible. And no truer words have been said. You see, we live in a world where we are enthralled with fake movies. We love fiction over reality, fake connections, hence the rise of sites like OnlyFans, Tinder, and all these online type of romancing situations, fake foods.
Canola oil is a commonly used type of cooking oil. It's derived from the seed of the canola plant. Canola oil is one of the healthiest cooking oils. Compared to olive, sunflower, and soybean oils, it has the lowest level of saturated fat, 7%.
Most of the food in the grocery stores is completely fake seed oils and the product of chemical engineering more than nature. Now we are entering the greatest illusion of them all. AI, artificial intelligence, and particularly through the means of large language models like ChatGPT, Grok, and so on. You see, we are in the Steve Jobs moment of AI. What is the Steve Jobs moment? Do you remember in 2007, there was an iconic picture of Steve Jobs holding the iPhone, holding this new marvel of technology. Before then, you didn't have a phone that had everything you needed all in one. The internet, apps, your contacts, the ability to, play games. It had everything in it. And at the time, everybody was excited. Everybody was enthralled and the future looked bright. But here's the thing. That one event created a series of what systems thinkers call unintended consequences. It's when things happen that you couldn't have been able to predict given where you were. You see, without the iPhone, we couldn't have apps. Without apps, we couldn't have social media. Without social media, we wouldn't have the societal disconnection that we are experiencing now. More people are feeling alone. If you watch the documentary on Netflix, The Social Dilemma, you will see that there are serious issues that are happening, especially to adolescents, teenagers, young people regarding their social development due to what social media has done to their brains. Their dopamine receptors have been fried and they didn't go through the normal developmental stages of learning to connect. Something as simple as Tinder or the apps of Instagram, just two apps, have completely changed the way that many males and females approach the dating market, reversing what is commonly natural in the laws of biology. You see, I was watching this video recently of this guy, an average looking guy who was on Tinder for a week and he was just going through it to see how many matches he got.
I swiped right about 252 times and got 8 matches. Out of the 252 right swipes, 244 of them were no match.
Because we're going against biology here. We're going against biology from a biological standpoint. Guys have a very low standard and women have a very high standard. But when you create a situation where every woman can potentially get with any man on earth through the social media platforms, there's going to be upheaval. And when you add social media propaganda through various influences that are pushing certain narratives about what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a man, all hell breaks loose. Now, look at the situation we're in. Lots of people can't maintain relationships. They're in situationships, as it's now being termed. Lots of countries have populations that are going down. And this is not all because of Tinder and Instagram, but they probably play a big role in all of this, leading to, of course, depopulation, an unintended consequence, or perhaps intended. But this is only the beginning. Now, if many of us could go back to 2007, we would throw our iPhones back at Steve Jobs. But we're here now, and we are in our Steve Jobs moment of AI, a similar position where everything looks bright, but we really have no idea of what we are unlocking.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, dear laureates, unfortunately, the rapid progress in AI comes with many short-term risks. It is already being used by authoritarian governments for massive surveillance and by cybercriminals for phishing attacks. In the near future, AI may be used to create terrible new viruses and horrendous lethal weapons that decide by themselves who to kill or maim. All of these short-term risks require urgent and forceful attention from governments and international organizations.
Elon Musk famously said that with AI, we are summoning the demon, and I believe that is true. Now, for the very first time in human history, you have something that can think for you. It reminds me of a book written by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. Now, this book was initially meant to be released in the 1940s at some point, but because of fear coming from the Napoleon Hill estate, his family, his wife, and other family members, the pressure he was feeling, he decided not to release it, and it only got released sometime in 2008. The book was ahead of its time and a little bit odd because in the book, Napoleon Hill claims to have had a conversation with the devil. Now, whether that was the literal devil or just a figment of his imagination is not important, because what the devil told Napoleon Hill has basically been a prediction of what society has become now. And one thing that I took from the book was this idea of drifting, how 98% of people are controlled by the devil through drifting. And here's a definition of drifting from the devil himself. I can best define the word drift by saying that people who think for themselves never drift, while those who do little or no thinking for themselves are drifters. A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind. That's powerful. And that's basically what these large language models aim to do. Instead of you going through the effort of researching via reading books or reading different websites, it presents the solution to you on a silver platter. It thinks for you. And what's insidious about this is the fact that it starts off with small things. What's the best way to try on this pair of jeans so that they fit properly? Or why is the sky blue? How can I convert my currency? Simple things with practical application, but the more you use it through our biological heuristics and biases, you start to fall in love with it. You start to create an attachment to it because it gives you reliable answers. And the more reliable the answers, the more of an authority figure it becomes. And you might not be even thinking about this consciously. This happens implicitly. And then later on, when the puppeteers decide to use it, when they decide to monetize it properly on the back end through mass propaganda, fire, controlled answers, you will be all but unable to stop it. In Outwitting the Devil, he continues. He says that if you drift for long enough, you fall under a spell called hypnotic rhythm. Basically, you will no longer be able to escape your predicament. You often hear of people talking about NPCs, non-player characters. This idea that there are a large amount of people walking around on Earth without souls. These NPC, non-player characters don't have any agency. They can't decide the trajectory of their life, let alone the direction of anything, because they have already been overtaken via hypnotic rhythm. Now, I don't necessarily believe that there are people without souls, but I feel that you can be rendered soulless through giving your power away to the point where you can no longer escape your predicament. So there are billions of people who are not happy with their predicament, but they can't think outside of their situation because of all these influences. And AI is only going to make that worse. It's going to create hypnotic rhythm on a scale unlike we have ever seen before. And we're in the early stages. Once again, I said we're in the Steve Jobs era, the Steve Jobs holding his iPhone moment. But we're already seeing people falling in love with their AI girlfriends. We're seeing, the likes of Elon Musk promoting these types of avatar friends or associates through Twitter. And AI is filled with heuristics that make you fall in love with it, as I mentioned earlier. It always seems to confirm your beliefs in a roundabout way. It doesn't give you any real challenges because its role is to seduce you into trusting it as a trusted advisor. It's never going to tell you, no, you're wrong, you're an idiot, because you will cancel your subscription. It's going to tell you what you want to hear. It's going to gain your trust. And then later on, when you ask it questions about perhaps taking certain medications, perhaps making certain life decisions that might be irreversible, it will tell you an answer that you will trust and you will go with. That's all I'm going to say. But on to brighter news. How can you consciously use AI? This is something I've been working on for a while. I've been thinking about it deeply, and I'm only starting to scratch the surface. So this is the draft version of how to consciously use AI. Number one, I like to have at least 2 AI agents. I don't subscribe to just ChatGPT or Claude or Grok. I actually have 3. And the reason I do this is to avoid attachment. If I have 3 reliable AI agents that I communicate with or ask questions and they give me different answers, different perspectives, I'm less likely to get attached to one, which is huge. Number 2, I avoid using AI on my phone. For whatever reason, everything on the phone tends to be 10 times more addictive. Social media on the phone tends to be way more addictive than if you were using social media on a desktop. It's the same thing with AI. When I use it on my phone, I've noticed I can get into long, drawn-out conversations, really about nothing, that don't really add anything. So I use it on the desktop. Number 3, I minimize conversations and only use it when searching for solutions. So when I use it, I'm very pragmatic in what my aim is, what my goal is, and I shoot for the target. I don't engage in these long, strung out brainstorming conversations that go from one topic to another topic and can go on for hours. I have done that initially when I started using ChatGPT. One time I was talking to it or conversing with it for 2 hours, and I was like, oh, where did 2 hours go? And that also inspired this video, that moment of realizing that this technology, although in its infancy, does have that power to seduce. And people need to know how to escape it. Number 4, I question and challenge its answers. I'm not afraid to question the answers it gives me. I'm not afraid to ask for sources. I'm not afraid to give my own perspective. When you do this, you no longer are unconsciously drifting. You're a participant. You have your own opinions. You have your own direction. And that's power, something you should never let go of. Number 5, I see its answers as suggestions, not the word of God. It's merely compiling different ideas across the internet. It's not the ultimate truth. And it is programmed with biases and certain tones. If you ask it certain questions, it will reveal itself to you. So number 6, I still do my own research and make the final decision based on intuition. And this is nuanced but powerful. You have to be able to use your own intuition to know what is right for you. And intuition is a feeling. It's not logical. It's a right brain activity. Lastly, I connect with the infinite through spending time in nature. This also helps me with the intuition and makes me remember that I am alive and not part of this digital matrix. That is powerful, because the more digital your life is, the easier it is to fall into the traps of AI. Farewell.